It's Amanchu. Welcome back to Minecraft Bedrock and Java, where I play through both versions of the game and compare them. I am here in the Java Edition Skyblock world, and I recognize, you can probably see it from the time-lapse in the previous video, that there was a problem with the gold farm in the Java Edition world. I fixed it, so that's working really well now, and I have a much better sword for working in the gold mine. It's giving me good dividends. I have lots and lots of gold, and I'm gonna have to at some point set up a farm for bartering with piglins. I did a little bartering with piglins in the Java Edition Skyblock, mainly because I was looking for quartz. I need that for some redstone builds that I want to do in the very near future, like even today. And in the process, I also got a lot of gravel from them. So I already showed this off in the Bedrock edition, that you can do this. You can take combining dirt with gravel to make as much coarse dirt. That's converting my gravel into coarse dirt. But the thing that kind of confused me, and I thought might be a bug in Bedrock edition, was when I take this coarse dirt and lay it down, and when I used the hoe on it in Bedrock Edition, it converted it straight to tilled soil. Here, if I do this, use it once, it turns it into, from coarse dirt into dirt. Use it again, it turns it into tilled soil. That's how I think it's supposed to work, but in Bedrock Edition, for whatever reason, one use of the hoe turns it from coarse dirt directly into tilled soil. But thanks to bartering with piglins, I now have a bunch more dirt, which I can now place. And in addition to gravel, I got soul sand, which allowed me to, I had like one soul sand and I had another wart on one soul sand. Now I have a field of nether wart that I'm growing. Very nice. Okay, so I've been able to get dirt renewably by getting more gravel. Now, there's a couple other things that I need to get more of, and I want to work on a few little farms today. The first thing I want to do is make use of some of this bone meal. This is the stuff I've gotten from the mob grinder. This is most of it, but not all of it. There are a couple special recipes that are exclusive to Java Edition. You don't see them in the Bedrock Edition version of Skyblock. One of these recipes will allow me to produce Netherack renewably. Now, in Bedrock Edition, I know a trick to get more Netherack than I'll never know what to do with, but not so in Java Edition. If I take weeping vines and I bone meal it, and then break it with shears, more creeping vines. And if I take creeping vines, this is a special Java Edition Skyblock recipe. I take 4 creeping vines in a crafting interface and I can convert that to Netherack. This allows me to produce Netherack renewably. That's actually good. I'm going to want that because I kind of want to make a farm for warp stem and crimson stem in the overworld, but I don't have a lot of Netherack. It's not something that's easily available like I can get to it in Bedrock Edition. Now, I thought about trying to automate this process using redstone, but the problem with doing that is I can't use shears in the dispenser on the weeping vines. If I use a piston to break the weeping vines, it doesn't 100% of the time get me back weeping vines like it does if I use shears. So it's going to be a less efficient use of my bone meal that way. Now, could I do this in Bedrock Edition? Yes and no. I can bone meal weeping vines. I can harvest them with shears in Bedrock Edition. But I can't hold the bone meal in my offhand. So I'd have to keep switching back and forth between inventory slots. And I don't have the Java Edition I don't have the special Java Edition data pack that gives me that crafting recipe to turn weeping vines into Netherack. Not that I want to in Bedrock Edition, because I have access to all the Netherack I could ever use in Bedrock Edition Skyblock anyway. Alright, that's the end of that shears. And it's more than a stack of Netherack. That'll do for now. I have other things I want to use the bone meal for today. Today, I want to make a kelp farm. That's the other use I have for bone meal today. And I want to make an automated kelp farm. But to get kelp, well, I already have some in Bedrock Edition Skyblock because I bought it from Wandering Trader. I could buy it from Wandering Trader in Java Edition as well, but there's also a special recipe to make kelp. If I bone meal this wood in this pool, I get all the seagrass. I use the shears to harvest that seagrass. Now I can take this seagrass and put it in a crafting interface and turn it into kelp. That is a unique recipe for this version of Java Edition Skyblock. Now let's go take this kelp and make a farm out of it. Alright, I finished the kelp farm for Java Edition. It's more complicated than I was hoping it would be. It turned out to be a little more complicated. It took me a little more time than I expected, but it's done. It should work good. What I have here are a bunch of hoppers and chests for dealing with these smokers. The kelp will feed into the smokers and get smelted by them. In fact, I should feed some charcoal in here for fuel to start things out. And now this will make the dried kelp. And once I have enough of that dried kelp built up, I can make kelp blocks and feed kelp blocks into this double chest to provide fuel for the smokers. The kelp is obviously coming in through these chests, which are fed by this hopper here. So when the kelp is grown here, you see I have a dispenser, which is absolutely full to the rim with bone meal. And I have lots more bone meal where that came from, believe me. I have a timer circuit over here. In Java Edition, this has to be set on 2 ticks. If it's set on 1 tick, the redstone torch will burn out and it'll stop working. I have an observer here, which is on the bottom level where the kelp is. When the kelp grows, it will detect that change in the block and give a pulse, and that'll cause this piston to extend and break the kelp. Now, when the piston breaks the kelp, the state of that kelp block at the bottom changes again. So the observer will pulse twice. And I don't want to have the piston perpetually extending over and over again. So I have these repeaters set up in this system here so that it will allow the piston to just fire once, not twice every time the observer goes off. And there's a water source like right there, which when the kelp breaks, the water will flow across to here and end up in one of these 2 hoppers, probably the first one, but just in case I have 2 hoppers there. So when I turn this on, see the piston's breaking the kelp, and the kelp just flows over into the hoppers, which ends up in this chest and immediately is going to flow into the hoppers below. I think with 2 of these smokers going, it's still not going to be fast enough to keep up, and eventually I'll build up like a bunch of kelp into here. By now I think I've run out of fuel because I only had like a couple charcoal. Let me make some more. There we go. Now as I get more dried kelp, I can keep feeding it into here, and eventually it's going to give me a good steady supply of fuel. I finally found a use for all the bone meal I've been collecting. Alright, now that I've built that in Java Edition, I want to go ahead and build in Bedrock Edition Skyblock a kelp farm there. And here I am in the Bedrock Edition Skyblock, and I do have a piece of kelp in this version of Skyblock because I got it from Wandering Trader, not because I had some special recipe to make it with. I don't. And I'm starting to work now, and I just turned on the recording, I forgot to turn it on. I'm starting to work now on making a 0-tick kelp farm in Bedrock Edition. It's going to be a little bit different from what it was before, but not that much different. The latest update patch that patched a whole lot of bugs kind of broke the old farm. The main difference here is, I have to cut away some of this to show. So I have the sticky piston that's extended here with sand in front of that, and then 1 block of sand on top of it. So it's kind of the same principle as before, except before I'd have 2 blocks of sand up there, and now I just have 1 on top of the extended piston. I have this timer circuit here that I really like to use. In Bedrock Edition, I can have it on 1 tick, and it still works. And you can see that working fine. Okay. Now, for the upper part, I need to make a few changes. I think we're good. Let's see if I did this right. If I turn this on, it's working. Hang on, let me get a better vantage point. It's working. Excellent. Now in the past when I built this, I had 2 kelp growing side by side. It turns out I really don't need that. What I do need is I'm going to need some fuel in these smokers to start things out. So let me get some fuel. Get these to start going. One more thing I'm going to need. Put some levers on here. That'll allow me to deactivate these hoppers so that it won't feed out the dried kelp when it's cooked, and I can pull it out for the experience. The thing about this 0-tick kelp farm, first of all, it requires no bone meal, obviously, but also because of the nature of kind of another glitch thing in Bedrock Edition, if I just feed items through these smokers, the experience that you would normally get for smelting things doesn't go away. It's accumulated in the smoker. You get the experience out of it if you ever break the smoker, or I can flip this switch and keep the hopper from feeding stuff out, and then pick the dried kelp out, and I will get experience for all the things that have been smelted through the smoker so far every time I pick an item out. And right now it's not giving me much experience because I just started with this, but once I get it going, it's going to give me tons of experience. So that's going to be pretty good. Now I have a great source of experience. Not that I didn't already have one from, trading with villagers gives me a lot of experience too. But this also gives me an unlimited supply of fuel. And I have a practically unlimited supply of fuel in Java Edition as well from the kelp farm. Because as long as I have a supply of bone meal, and I have lots of bone meal, I can get plenty of kelp and dry it out and get the kelp blocks to put in furnaces. Now, the other thing I wanted to do today, I have these picks, and I have efficiency 5 diamond picks in both Skyblock versions. And the problem I run into is with the stone generators that I made, this pick mines so fast that it's kind of inefficient to use a stone generator like this. It's just not fast enough. As you can see, it just takes a long time. And when I just had stone picks, when I didn't have any diamond picks and I didn't have any enchantments on them, this was fine. It's 100% efficient, and it gives me a decent amount of stone, but I could do so much better. I can make a much improved version now that I have plenty of redstone and other construction materials. So I'm going to make an improved version of that stone generator. I'm going to make one for Bedrock Edition and Java Edition. The Java Edition one is going to be a little simpler, but the Bedrock Edition will be 100% lossless, and it will be able to be adapted to whatever speed of pick I happen to have. So let's get started building that. First of all, I'm going to have to tear this one down. Alright, I've cleared this area out where I was having the stone generator, and let's see if I can squeeze the new one in here. It's going to start with a timer circuit that I need to make, and it's going to be an Athonian hopper clock. I don't know if I've demonstrated a Athonian hopper clock before. It is a really cool timer circuit. It's very handy, and it's based on having hoppers pointed into each other. Now if I just put some random things, like put some sticks in there, what happens is this hopper that I put all those sticks in is feeding items into this hopper, and this hopper is immediately feeding them back into the first hopper. So you can see there's one stick here. It's just constantly being cycled, pushed back to here and then pushed back to here. Now if I put a redstone block next to one of these hoppers, this hopper stops pushing items into here. This hopper continues to push items into here. So this hopper empties itself out, and this hopper fills up. If I move that redstone block to here, now this hopper will empty out, and the other hopper being powered isn't doing anything, so it will fill up with those items. Put a piston facing this way, and one facing this way. Comparator facing out the back of each of the hoppers. That goes to solid blocks. You can see this comparator right now is putting out a redstone signal because this hopper has items in it. This one is empty because it emptied everything into that hopper, so this is not putting out a redstone signal. Now if I put redstone dust there and here, now that one's powered. It powered this piston. It pushed the redstone over to here. Put in some more items here, so it takes longer. So right now this one's powered, so it's getting filled up. Right now this hopper's powered, so it's getting filled up with items. Once this is empty, this comparator turns off. This piston deactivates, and the other piston pushes the redstone block back to here. Now this hopper is powered and this one's unpowered, so this feeds the items into this hopper until this one's empty, and it just cycles back and forth. I'm going to use that for my timer circuit. Redstone torch there. And redstone all along there. Now all of these are powered, right? Now if I extend this power out to here, to this block. No, that's not right. Yeah, there we go. So I extend this redstone out to here, and it's powering this block. That's powering the block that this torch is on. So the torch is off. When this redstone block moves from this position to this position, very briefly, that redstone's unpowered while that block is moving. So that causes this torch to pulse on briefly. Hang on a minute. That lightning's probably not going to cause me a problem, but it makes a lot of noise and it's hard to talk. So every time this block moves, these pistons pulse and they just push out once. Now ideally, I'd probably want to have less items in here, so it moves a little more frequently. I think it's got to be a little quicker than that. That's kind of the nice thing about this. By controlling how many items I have in here, I can control how fast this will pulse. It probably could be even faster than that, but that's good for now. Now I'm going to put a lever on to this block here, I guess, and switch that on. That will deactivate the hopper clock. Now it will stop moving. Alright. Stone generator is going to be based around these pistons here. Put a line of obsidian blocks here. It's got to be something that pistons can't move. And the list of what pistons can move in Bedrock Edition and Java Edition is a bit different. Oh, you know what? I put it in the wrong spot. I'll fix it. Hoppers go here. That's better. We stick a sign here. That will prevent any water from flowing into where I'm at. Everything else should be set. I just need to waterlog all these pistons. There. Everything's waterlogged. It's debatable whether I need more than one source of lava. I could get more than one source of lava. I don't know that I need it. Eh, what the heck. I have more sources of lava. There. Alright, I have 8 sticks in there now. I just have to figure out the timing of that. It's got to be quicker than that. Alright, hang on. How about 5 sticks? That's about right. That's about right. So this is kind of nice, effective stone generator. And, you know, if I had better efficiency than 5, or if I had haste, I could speed up the timing of that Ethonian hopper clock a little bit more. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention about the Ethonian hopper clock, you can build the same thing in Java Edition. You can make an Ethonian hopper clock, but there is an important difference. I built this with regular pistons. In Java Edition, that won't work. You must use sticky pistons. For whatever reason, the pistons will get stuck and stop moving, and the Ethonian hopper clock will break if you use regular pistons in Java Edition. But in Bedrock Edition, I can use regular pistons. It doesn't have to be sticky pistons. But regardless, this is not a design that you can do in Java Edition because you can't waterlog pistons in Java Edition. So I have to come up with a different kind of stone generator for Java Edition, and I will. I have a design in mind that is much simpler than this, but unfortunately it's one that I can't do in Bedrock Edition. Okay, now back in Java Edition world, I have altered the stone generator here. It was a cobblestone generator. Now this is going to be a stone generator. It is a much simpler design. There's no redstone in it really, unlike the Bedrock Edition version. It may not necessarily be completely lossless, but anyway, I have a chest here with some spare stuff in it, but there's 5 hoppers leading into that chest, and I have, probably see it from above better, I have these 5 stairs that are waterlogged. So there's water flowing across the hoppers. Now I just put a bucket of lava here, and it will flow downward and create stone. I have some signs over here against this glass that prevents the lava or water from flowing out. Now I have my efficiency 5 silk touch pick, and I can just mine. So making this 5 blocks long is probably overkill. Unless I have the haste effect, I'm not going to be able to mine for 5 blocks before the lava fills in with stone again. But in the event that I ever get haste, it will be useful to be able to do that, because 5 blocks is as far forward as I can mine. This definitely takes advantage of the better efficiency of the pick, just like the Bedrock Edition version. I'm not 100% sure that I'm being completely efficient here. I might be losing blocks to the lava. I'm not really sure. But it is definitely going to get me more stone more quickly than the old version did. You see, I almost got 2 stacks of stone right there. Pretty quick. Now, one last thing I want to take care of today, and that is I want to go to that Geode. That's something that doesn't exist in the Bedrock Edition version of Skyblock that I have. It's unique to this Java Edition version. I've been putting this off for a while, but I think it's time to go there. I have made a platform out to it, but I have to get down to it. Yep, that looks like it's going to reach. Why does this feel like a really scary way to get down there? It'll be fine. What am I worried about? Oh, wow. Okay. I see that there's fish in here. And that's interesting. And looking at the biome I'm in an ocean biome. That's useful information. I can use that later. Knowing this is an ocean is going to be very helpful to me. Because eventually, I'm going to want to make a drowned farm. And it'd help a lot to know what biome I'm in. Okay. That scared the crap out of me. Dolphins are spawning up there and falling to their death. Oh, man. I am just creating a lot of death here. Alright, well, let's mine into this geode. And you know what? Let me do it with this pick that I made. It has Fortune 3, Unbreaking 3, and Mending. It's a stone pick, and it doesn't have efficiency. That way I'm not going to accidentally destroy anything important. Okay, I think that's good. It looks like I have about a dozen or so budding amethyst blocks. Not a lot, but even from the few that I've been able to harvest, the few amethysts I've been able to harvest so far, 36 shards, it's a good start. And, you know, I'm making use of this Fortune 3 stone pickaxe to do it. So I think I've accomplished quite enough for today. And if you made it this far in this video, you probably like what you saw, so click on the like button. And if you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to my channel. I have now created a really good stone generator for both versions of Skyblock, so I can make lots of blocks. I have a source of fuel from the kelp farms, so at this point I could actually build something nice. Or I could go to the end and fight the end dragon. I think I'm building toward that. I think I'm about ready. I'm going to need a few more upgrades to my gear, but that shouldn't take long. And I think I can get into the end. Next time on Amon Chooses Minecraft, Java versus Bedrock.